right in the face. Hi, it's Todd from Tod's Workshop and Tod Cutler here, and this is an advert. I can't pretend otherwise, but it is going to be a fun advert, so stick with it. We're going to smash things, hit things, stab things. We're going to do stuff. But the reason we're doing it is it's the Black Friday sale time. Up to 50% off on todcutler.com, up to 20% off on todsworkshop.com. So come on down. But first up, so you get the flavour of this, let's go hit something with this German warhammer. Right in the face. I have a thing about hitting beer cans, but I'm not going to waste good beer on it. Alcohol-free lager. Fails on 2 counts. Of course, it's not just the beacon of Warhammer that does the business. The meat tenderizer does as well. Let's see what it does against the mail. But of course those hammers are mass weapons, just like regular maces are. Then you come down to the bottom end of things here, which is the simplest mace you could do that any bodger, any blacksmith in any village would be able to turn out. 6 big studded nails, big chunk of lead in the end on an ash shaft. Really good against flesh, not against armour. Let's see what it does. None of the mauls and maces are really against hitting armour, but of course sometimes you would. Mass weapon, it's brass, softer than steel. And it will still make a mess of what it strikes. That's what it's about. Soft bits. Now one of these is fantasy, one of these is real. Can you tell which it is? Well, the thing is, these ones were used singly. So this is really the orientation it should be, but it doesn't look remotely as cool as when you double them or triple them. So I do that too. And so we're starting here with an effigy rondel. Mid 14th century, discard at the bottom, regular kind of pommel at the top. So you see these a lot on the stone effigies in churches. Occasionally, less often in museums. Then around 1400, you end up with what we think of as rondels. And this one is a monster from the Wallace collection. Now, I did a great film with Matt Easton where we stabbed mail and plate and fabric armour using a custom Tod's Workshop piece. But this is the regular Tod Cutler piece. Let's see what it does. Now we've got a studded rondel from the Rothenberg collection. It's not remotely as uncomfortable as it looks like it is, but the thing is, it sits there in your hand and you know where it is. But if you look at the manuals, interestingly, an awful lot of rondel fighting is done with overhand grips, not underhand grips, which is a much more modern knife fighting style. And it's to do with the armour that people are wearing. Let's see how this handles mail. Studded rondel, overhand grip. Lots of force. So we're going to try the underhand grip, and you'll see why fight manuals of the medieval period don't really favour it. Still nasty, but not as deep. So we're done with rondels, and we're on to Bollock daggers. Yep, they did exist, and they really did wear them where I'm holding it now. They also wore them in other places too, but it's, you know, a joke 500 years ago is still a great joke now. But they started round about 1300 as working men's knives, working men's tools. So single-edged, flat back, stout blade. They're strong, they're cheap to make, they're easy to make, and you can do fine work, coarser work. Now the thing is, things change over time, fashions change. So this went out, and by the 15th century, they're becoming posh. So from the mid-15th century onwards, you end up with Bollock daggers like this. So they're getting posher, they're getting finer, they're gentlemen's tools, right? But they're still civilian dress. Never really military, but the thing is, this is now all about dress and all about fighting. There's nothing about work here. But of course the 15th century had ordinary guys in it as well, not just posh dudes. So you've got working daggers still out there. This one, it's an interesting blade form, but there's quite a few of them, and it's for working and for fighting. So it's optimised for both. Double-sided blade, but a flat back here. Now the thing is, there's some vegetables out there that I think we need to see how Bollock daggers deal with. So Bollock daggers were the perfect medieval multi-tool. They were used for, you know, cookery, camp work, craft work, work around the farm, the house. They were also civil defence. Enough rudeness with the Bollock daggers. We're on to good old English sax, 9th, 10th, 11th century, broken back style. We think of these as a Viking's tool, but actually knights were still using them up into the early 13th century. So this is current at the same time as quill and daggers such as this. Now the thing is, this has to be used basically in an overhand grip. It's really the way it's designed. This one, it's not the overhand grip of later centuries, it's still the underhand grip. Now, according to all the books I read, this sails through mail like there's, well, like it's butter. So I think we should go find out if it does. Draw it out, in it goes like butter. Or not. Not anti-mail. Of course, with todcutler.com, we deal with all the ordinary knives of the medieval period. Bollock daggers, rondels, quill and daggers and so on. But also we like to do as much as we can. Burnware like this one, really big in Switzerland and Germany. And then of course we have baselards. The German Swiss style and the English Italian style. You tell me why they were so similar but yet so far apart. And then we have this Burnware here with eating knives. It's a really German thing to add additional bits onto your main bit of kit. They did it a lot with swords, they did it with hunting knives, they did it at Burnware. So you've got a lovely pair of eating knives here because of course you all know that what you don't do is go to table and eat with a big knife or a rusty knife or a dagger, because they had etiquette manuals and it explained how you were supposed to eat. So we all know exactly how you eat when you sit down at a medieval feast table. You get your dagger out, you spear the chicken, you drag it across the table, you rip a leg off, you take a bite, you throw it over your shoulder, and everybody has a really great night. Wasn't like that. No dirty cutlery, no daggers. Wait till you're served. Don't take too much. It's all there in the books. But the thing is, that means you can't just have a dagger, because that's just, you're not dressed properly. And why would you want that? So todcutler.com, we do eating knives as well. Right. But then after dinner, if it all gets a bit frisky and they don't like your table manners, there's always the stiletto. So let's go and see how this deals with mail, because of course people used to wear secrets, so basically hidden armour under their coats, not just the clothing. So you took great offence when they didn't like your etiquette. He's wearing a secret under his jacket, you've got your stiletto. Didn't help him much. It's what they're for. So I hope you've enjoyed the advert. Don't forget, up to 50% off on todcutler.com, up to 20% off on selected todsworkshop.com items. Come down, check it out. You won't be disappointed. And then you can recreate some of this in your own backyard, if you want to. Bye.